Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that this is a short clip from a longer interview that you can check out on my other YouTube channel, Rare Liquid. Any tips for recruiting that come to mind? Starting with Alonso.
Sure. Something that no one told me and that I think it's important is don't underestimate the very early coffee chats. I think we were told, or at least the message I received at the beginning from the banks during their information session, etc., was that the first coffee chats were just, to meet you and to learn about the bank and to get whatever information you need. But then I found out that not really. You are getting evaluated since day one. So you have to be sharp. And something that helped me at least was knowing what I wanted in terms of group, in terms of which bank I preferred, and having a solid pitch and a solid story prepared since the very beginning. Of course, you develop it and you improve it as you go. But I do think the first impression is very powerful, and so you should not underestimate it.
Ed?
I would say teamwork makes the dream work. Mm-hmm. I had a team of guys that I prepared with, and my view of the world was that there's enough that all of us will get jobs. So we weren't competitive with each other. And so we worked really well together to prep our resumes, to prep our stories, to prep for coffee chats, like Alonso said, because from day one, every interaction is evaluative. So we just made sure to do that. So getting a team of people who you'll share resources with, who you'll be vulnerable in front of before you become vulnerable in front of the bankers, and those who will push you. I had a friend who would call me between classes at night and just ask me a random question, like a behavioral, tell me about a time when you did want to, and I had to answer because we had that agreement. So that's something that I really would stress. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Got it. The midnight calls is not a usual way to prepare for recruiting, but I guess it worked. But Eunice, how about you? Any one tip that comes to mind?
Okay. Well, I feel like there are so many practical tips. What do you want? A practical tip or more self-reflection of the recruiting
let's do
process?
one of each then.
Okay. Practical tip. Be super organized. I little things don't book coffee chats back to back because one might run late. Create a buffer. Think about how long it takes to walk somewhere or set up a computer, build in buffer times, because I think that's what causes stress. Have a super organized email Excel tracker of all of your contacts. That helped me a bunch of times. Honestly, I think I talked to close to 200 people during recruiting. And so no matter how good your memory is, you will not remember 200 variations of the same conversation. And then on a personal level, I think this is a bit of a hot take, I think, in banking. I've heard this is kind of, I just decided to do this, but I was pretty authentic during my recruiting process. So similar to Alonso, I was pretty targeted in my recruiting. I was recruiting for the West Coast. I was recruiting for tech teams. And during my why banking or what's your top banks or all the questions that you get asked, I was pretty honest. And I think that if you think about it, we will be bankers in a few years. We will be recruiting, and I think we have the ability to hopefully tell when someone's faking it or not. And so I think that worked out for me. I tried to be as authentic and sincere as I could, and I think that bankers were receptive to that.
You never felt like you were being too honest, or are you being authentic to a certain point? And is there ever any line or?
Yeah, I would say be professional. I'm not gonna go. I almost cried in an office once, but I was always professional. But I think that some people, they feel like they need to either have a different persona during recruiting or be super hardcore. I still laughed. I mean, we're still talking to people in coffee chats. They're not robots. And so I think that was what worked well for me is always be prepared, whether that's be prepared to talk about a deal or talk about your hobbies or whatever they ask for. But just trying to be sincere and not fake it, I think was helpful.
Got it. And Now, before you leave, if you're interested in recruiting for investment banking, I highly recommend you guys check out Wall Street Prep. Wall Street Prep offers financial modeling courses so you can be ready not just for interviews, but your job on the desk as a banker. And what I really like is that they have you dig into financial statements and build models using real numbers, just like what I used to do at JP Morgan. And they offer a ton of great courses, but the two I particularly recommend are the accounting course and then the premium modeling package, which has been taken by over 100,000 students and goes over all the key valuation concepts I learned in banking, like DCFs, comps, accretion dilution, and LBOs. If any of this is of interest to you and you want to purchase a course from Wall Street Prep, be sure to use my code RareLiquid to get 20% off of any course. And with that said, thank you guys for tuning in to this clip. If you want to get the full interview, be sure to check out my main channel, Rare Liquid. And you can also listen to it on the go on podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. With that said, thank you guys for tuning in and hope to catch you guys in the next clip or video.